I was 19 when this happened, and even now I still replay parts of it in my head at random times, usually late at night for some reason. It happened during my second semester of community college back in 2022, I think around late October, because I remember everyone already had Halloween decorations out. The air smelled like wet leaves everywhere, and it got dark stupidly early. I'm not gonna lie, at the time I was already stressed out constantly. I was working evenings at a grocery store while taking classes during the day, and my sleep schedule was completely destroyed. So for a while I convinced myself I was probably just overthinking everything that happened. But looking back now, no, something was seriously wrong. I used to take the bus home after my night shift because my car had transmission issues. The bus stop was about a 5-minute walk from the store parking lot. Nothing crazy ever happened there. It was just one of those dim suburban roads with a dentist office, a closed dry cleaner, and one flickering streetlight that buzzed constantly. I specifically remember the buzzing because once you noticed it, you couldn't unhear it. Anyway, one night I got off work around 10:40 p.m. I remember checking the time because my manager kept us late cleaning some spill in aisle 7, and I was annoyed about missing the earlier bus. So I start walking toward the stop, headphones in, hoodie up, exhausted. Normal night. Then I noticed this guy standing near the bench. At first, nothing about him seemed that weird. He looked maybe mid-40s, wearing jeans and this dark green jacket. Kinda skinny, balding a little. He was just standing there holding a plastic grocery bag. But then I realized something. He wasn't waiting near the actual bus sign. He was standing farther back near the trees behind the sidewalk, just watching the road. I remember thinking maybe he was homeless or drunk or something. I didn't want to judge too fast, but something about him immediately made me uncomfortable. Not in a dramatic horror movie way either. More like that weird gut feeling where your brain quietly goes, don't get too close to this person. So instead of sitting on the bench, I stayed standing near the curb scrolling on my phone pretending to read messages. The whole time, I could feel him looking at me. Not constantly, but every time I glanced up, his eyes would flick away too fast. At that point I was already annoyed because I just wanted to get home, shower, maybe eat leftover pizza, and pass out. I wasn't in the mood for weird bus stop interactions. Then he suddenly spoke. "You work at that store?" His voice startled me more than it should have. I pulled one earbud out and said, Yeah." He nodded slowly like that somehow confirmed something important to him. "I see you there sometimes." I remember forcing this awkward little laugh because honestly, what are you even supposed to say to that? "Oh, okay." Then silence again. I checked the bus app on my phone. 7 more minutes. And I swear those were the longest 7 minutes of my life. The guy kept shifting around behind me. Not enough to look suspicious if someone drove past, but enough that I kept noticing movement in my peripheral vision. Then he asked me what time I got off work, usually. That question immediately made my stomach tighten. I lied and said random hours. He kinda smiled after that. Not a friendly smile either. It looked fake, like he was trying to imitate one. Maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe he was lonely. I still try to rationalize it sometimes. But then he said something that completely changed the feeling. He goes, "You shouldn't stand out here alone this late." I remember staring at him thinking, what? Because the way he said it didn't sound concerned. It sounded almost observational, like he was pointing something out he'd been thinking about for a while. That's when I noticed the grocery bag. It wasn't groceries. There was something long and metallic inside. I could only see part of it through the stretched plastic. At first I thought maybe it was an umbrella or tool or something. But then he adjusted the bag and I heard metal clink together. Not once. Several pieces. I honestly didn't know what to do. I remember my brain trying to stay calm while every part of my body suddenly felt hot. The road behind us was empty. No cars. No bus. Nothing. And the guy starts slowly walking closer while talking. Not fast. That somehow made it worse. He starts telling me about how dangerous the area gets at night and how people disappear around here sometimes. I'm not exaggerating when I say my entire body went cold hearing that. I kinda laughed nervously and stepped farther toward the curb. Then he stopped walking, and he just looked at me. No expression at all. I still think about that look sometimes because there was something deeply wrong with it. like he wasn't fully present mentally. Then he asked, "Do your parents know where you are?" Right after he said that, headlights appeared down the road. The bus. I have genuinely never felt relief like that before in my life. I practically stepped into the street waving at it before it even fully stopped. And this is the part that still bothers me the most. The second the bus pulled up, the guy turned around and walked away immediately. No frustration, no reaction, nothing. Just calmly walked into the darkness behind the trees like he already knew he was out of time. I got on the bus so fast I nearly dropped my wallet. The driver actually looked irritated at first until he saw my face and asked if I was okay. I turned around to point at the guy. He was gone, completely gone. There honestly wasn't enough time for him to disappear like that. Behind the trees was just a fenced drainage ditch. There wasn't really anywhere to go, but whatever. At that point, I just wanted to go home. So I sat near the front trying to calm down while telling myself I was being dramatic. Then about 3 stops later, I looked out the window and saw him again, standing at another bus stop farther down the route, just standing there, watching the bus pass. I remember my heart dropping so hard it actually hurt. There's no way he could have gotten there on foot that fast. None. And the creepiest part? He wasn't trying to flag the bus down. He was just standing there waiting, like he knew exactly which route I'd be taking home. I ended up staying on the bus until the final stop downtown because I was terrified to get off near my apartment. I called my older brother, shaking so hard I could barely explain what happened. He picked me up around midnight. The next day, my brother drove back to that original bus stop during daylight because he was pissed off and wanted to see the area. That's when we noticed something I somehow missed the night before. Behind the trees near where the man had been standing, there was a folding chair, an empty water bottle, cigarette butts, and multiple food wrappers, like someone had been sitting there for hours at a time, watching that bus stop, watching people. I stopped taking the bus after that. I started paying co-workers gas money for rides home until my car got fixed. And for months afterward, every single time I walked outside at night, I'd catch myself scanning parking lots and sidewalks looking for that green jacket. I never saw him again. At least, I don't think I did. But there's one thing that still messes with me when I think back on that night. I was standing there with him for almost 7 minutes. 7 whole minutes. And if he really wanted to hurt me, honestly, he probably could have. That's the part that never fully made sense to me. Because looking back now, he kept warning me, telling me not to stand there alone, looking down the road behind me every couple seconds, acting nervous whenever cars passed. At one point, I even remember him stepping closer to me right before this old white van drove by slowly. I didn't think anything of it at the time because I was too focused on him, but now, I don't know. Maybe I was paying attention to the wrong person the entire time. Or maybe that's exactly what he wanted me to think. That's what makes it so hard to process. Because there are only 2 explanations that make sense to me. Either he was waiting for the right moment to do something to me, or he was making sure somebody else didn't. And honestly, I still don't know which possibility is worse.